Good morning, everyone. Very good morning. Shall we begin the session? Today's topic is the items and event that is raised via email that takes in parameter, that takes an object that is known as object parameter item, which is also Outlook Express item, that is a meeting request. Email send. Email is also sent as an object that is wrapped in a specific type. And this handler also has a bool parameter passed by reference known as a cancel, so that we can set to the true to the Outlook being sent. So whatever the Outlook methods, whatever the follower we are using, that is used for the item send, item event handlers. And there is a potentially career limiting mode that we want to send to more than 125 people. That is the same example. And this item send event handler also has a bool parameter passed by a reference known as cancel, that it can be shared, it can be used, or it can be true to prevent the Outlook item from being sent. So whatever the item we are sending out, whatever the blocks we are sending out, that is used with the cancel, that is used with the aggregation that makes the Outlook object, so we can write this code. So item.send is raised by this application base class. So this application base class have a formalities, have a guidance that is used with this application base class. That have a specific meaning also. Okay. Yeah, specific meaning. Shall we begin the session? Next topic is items and event, that is an application based or that is raised by this application.css. And the items and event handler takes an object parameter known as item, which is the Outlook being sent or Outlook item being sent. Because this can be of any number of things such as a meeting request or an email request. So item is passed as an object rather than as a specific type. So whatever the type, whatever the request we are using there, so that is passed as an object, or item is passed as an object rather than a specific type. And this event handler also have a bool parameter passed by a reference known as a cancel. So there are two parts, one is item, one is a cancel. That is also used to prevent the Outlook from being sent. And in our items and event handler, we need to check see whether the item parameter which is passed as an object is actually an email, or it is trying to cast the email, or trying to cast the item parameter to an Outlook mail item. And if the cast succeeds, the resulting value would be not null, or will be not null, and we'll know that the item being sent is an Outlook.mail item. Therefore, whenever we are using the email message, whenever we are using or dealing with the email message that is used to send the email, that is used to send the output that is given over the address entry. That property is being called as an address entry object, and this object has a members property that returns a collection that we can check the account of. Whatever the counting we have, whatever the probability we have, so we have to use the dialog and also ask the user if she really wants to send the email. And if the user clicks on the no button, we will set the cancel parameter of the item sent to true, or cancel, that is given or that is used within the, we can say that within the area within the career limiting email. Now let's move to the next part. Just read out this. You are supposed to read out this. Just read out for 2 minutes. Now let's start again. Have you read this? Yeah, have you read this coding that handles items and event and also checks for the non-curriculum or the more than 25 assignments? That includes system.handles.forms, Microsoft.video, Visual Studio, .tools, .application, .runtime. Then Outlook or Outlook equals to Microsoft.office.intel.outlook. That is also given as a recipients, as a form, as a Visual Studio.tools.applications. Then Outlook adding one public partial class. So there is a public partial class, this application that is denoted with this application startup. And there are again two parts, one is the sender, one is the event ARESE. Then this dot item send plus equals to new. Then Outlook.application event 11, the item event send or item send event handler, this application item send. So there are two parts of this. One is Outlook.application event dot 11 or underscore 11 item send handler, or this application item send. So this will be used for the Outlook events. For these category, that will be used for the item send event handlers. Then void this application item send object item reference bool cancel. So there are two parts. One is object item, one is the reference bool cancel. Then Outlook.mail item, my item. So again we are taking one variable my item of the Outlook.mail item. Then item as Outlook.mail items. Then my item is not equals to null for each Outlook.recipients. Recipient my item.recipients. If this is dot at recipient point dot member dot count is greater than 25. So as a user, if she really wants to send this email, or we are going to getting the message, string message, that is send email to 0 with the 1 people, then caption more than 25 recipients, message box buttons, message box button dot yes or no, there are two parts, dialog result, then result equals to message box dot show string dot format, message receive address entry dot name, receive address entry dot message dot count or members dot count. So these two parts are available within the string within the format that is included with the receive address entry dot name, receive dot address entry dot members dot count. Then there are captions also, buttons also. There are two parts, caption and the button, that is used with the string format, that is used with the message box dot show. Now, if result equals to dialog result dot no. So if the dialog result is not showing any result, that is not available in the result, so cancel equals to true. So whatever the value that is available in that true, that will be going into the cancel. The next is the break. Again, there are closing curly braces, curly braces, curly braces. So this private void this application shutdown. One is the sender, one is the event ARGSE. Again, there are two parts. One will be used as a sender, one will be used as a. This application shutdown is also used with the generated code. That is one of the part of the VST generated code or VST designer generated code. Then private void internal startup. This dot startup new system event handler. This application startup. This shutdown new system event handler. This application shutdown. So there are two parts. One is the startup, one is the shutdown. There is the end of the region also. There are also curly braces and another curly braces. And when you run the project with the code that is shown, so after launches the adding loads, prior to sending out an email to an alias that includes more than 25 people, so you might want to go offline first in case if you need that you mistype the code. So if you mistype the code, you are supposed to go again and again with the offline mode. If all works right, the admin will display a dialog box warning that you are sending an email to more than 25 people, and you will be able to cancel the send of the email. So that item will be sent out, that item will be displayed to send out the email. So exit Outlook to end your debugging session. Whatever debugging session you have, so that is exit for making this debugging session. Next is creating the Outlook add-ins with the VSTO. That discusses the VSTO Outlook add-ins for more detail. That is going through for the chapters with this programming Outlook, working with the Outlook events, working with the Outlook objects, respectively. That discuss the Outlook object model also. So this object model will be used as the Outlook object that is working with the Outlook events, respectively with the Outlook object model. Next is code behind a document. So this code also used with the requirement the developer uses classes generated in a VSTO project that have a pre-hooked up classes, pre-hooked up context, pre-hooked up events. So there are two parts. One is a pre-hooked up context, one is a pre-hooked up events. These two parts have been hooked up, have been used for whatever the we can say the whatever the scenario, whatever the qualities we have. So that quality will be used with the document or the worksheet. So we have prepared either a worksheet, either the work document. So in Word, there is only one code behind the document that is used. So that work code also used is used for the pattern, one for the worksheet or the chart sheet in the workbook. And the first time your code runs in a VSTO code behind the document project is when the office raises the startup event handle. So whatever the handled event, whatever the output that they are carrying out, so they will be carrying out of the any of the code behind the classes that will be created a VSTO code for you that will be created an Excel worksheet for you. That Excel worksheet will be created, for example, that will be created for the output event that will be displayed with reference to the project. So when the first time you run the code, this will be available or this will be used in the event handler that will be used to hook up the event, to make up the event, or we can say the classes are hooked up with the Excel spreadsheet, the Excel worksheet. Such as the startup of the sheet, message book.show, string.format 0 is the sheet name, then this dot name. So again, these parts are also used with the reference. By using this dot name, you are referring as the name property of the Excel worksheet that is inherited from the object class. That also includes a VSTO code behind the class for Excel spreadsheet. In addition to the startup and the shutdown event or method in the code, there is also a generated code or method known as the internal startup. And you should not put any of the code in the internal startup method because it is automatically generated, or it is the auto-generated code by the VSTO. Rather, this code will be used for the hooked up for the partial classes to hide some additional information that is getting on the VSTO. Now let's begin with the VSTO Excel workbook customization. So this is used with the system.data, system.drawing, system.windows.forms. That is also used with the Visual Studio Tools application runtime. And Excel is used as a Microsoft Office intro of Excel. There are two types of Excel. One is the intro of Excel, one is the VSTO Excel. So in this, it is talking about intro of Excel. Then Office, Microsoft.office.com. These applications will be used that is based on the application.runtime, which is used with the intro of Excel. And using the Microsoft.office.core, we are dealing with the Excel workbook 1 that is used partial class sheet 1, void sheet 1, startup, object sender, event args, e. In the same way, when we move to the initial entry point, so that code gets run fast when the code behind is created. And that is also implicit in the sheet 1 class. Then messagebook.show, code behind the document turning. Messagebook.show, string format, 0 is the sheet name, this dot name. So 0 is the sheet name that is given, that is considered out. So string dot format is a sheet name that is considered with the this dot name. Now when we talk about the sheet 1 shutdown, that is includes with the two parts in the object and the event args. That have a shutdown event, that have a startup event that will be used with the VSTO designer generated code. That our summary also required method for the designer support also that do not modify the content of this method with the code editor, but they also clarify with the summary, that is the closing of the summary. Then private void internal startup. Again, there are two parts of this, startup and the shutdown, that is used with the new system.event handler, that is the sheet 1 shutdown. So sheet 1 startup will be used and sheet 1 shutdown also used with the end of the reason, that is we can say this number will be used as a value-based scenario that is used for the event handler 1, event handler 2, shutdown event, startup event. And then VSTO code is also used behind the document in the Excel that provides a simplified version of the VSTO, that is how it is closed, how it will put up, how we are going to enter the